Alright, let's just say this right now. If there was ever a rock star whose final hours needed to be seen through the twisted lens of AI, it's Jim Morrison. Not because AI can solve what happened. No, nobody's solving anything here. This is Jim Morrison we're talking about, the Lizard King. The guy practically turned mystery into a religion. But how Jim left this world is still one of the great unsolved riddles of rock. And like most things Morrison, there's the story the world knows, and then there's the stories whispered at 3 a.m. in smoky Paris bars. So now, thanks to AI animation projects floating around online, fans are getting this surreal, borderline creepy visual take on what Morrison's final hours might have looked like. Picture it. A hazy Paris apartment. Early morning light spilling across the floor of Rue Butriellis. Pamela Corson, Morrison's on again, off again, cosmic disaster soulmate, wandering through their flat looking for Jim. And there he is in the bathtub. Head tilted back. Slight grin. But then, the detail nobody forgets. A thin trickle of blood from his nose, tinting the bathwater pink. Here's where things get messy. Official cause of death? Heart failure. No autopsy. No toxicology. French law didn't require it unless foul play was suspected, and apparently, finding one of the world's most excessive rock stars lifeless in a bathtub wasn't suspicious enough for the Paris authorities. A complex web of contradictory accounts exists about his final day. In the story Corson told to French authorities, they went to the cinema before returning to their apartment in the early morning of July 3rd. Hours later, Corson awoke to Morrison's labored breathing. He drew a bath and vomited blood. She suggested they call a doctor, but Morrison insisted that he felt better. She went to sleep, she claimed, only to discover his lifeless body at daybreak. Corson also shared other conflicting stories about Morrison's passing. She told some friends that Morrison overdosed on heroin, though it's unclear when he supposedly started sampling the drug he professed to hate. The theory is bolstered by the account of rock icon Marianne Faithfull. The most radical challenge to the official narrative comes from Sam Burnett, who managed a Left Bank nightclub called the Rock and Roll Circus and maintains Morrison passed away there. According to Burnett, Morrison showed up after 1 a.m. and met with two dealers working for the Brutterie. Burnett says he later found Morrison locked in a bathroom stall, the victim of an overdose. Others in Morrison's circle believe prescription drugs were to blame. In his last months, he had serious respiratory problems that left him coughing up blood and hiccuping violently. Morrison was buried on July 7th at Père Lachaise, surrounded by his literary heroes.
Paris, July 9th, 1971. A dispatch over the newswire. James Douglas Morrison, the singer of The Doors, died 6 days ago, on Saturday, July 3rd, of a heart attack at the age of 27. A legend had died. A myth was born.
Where I first saw Jim Morrison and The Doors, I was producing concerts in San Francisco and LA and different places, and he had just started to play locally in town, and The Doors had opened here at the Whiskey, and people kept saying to me, you ought to see this band, they're really good. And so I came down and I saw The Doors, and I was floored immediately.
During an interview, Jim Morrison also spoke about death.
In regard to what is happening with the deaths of Al Wilson and Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, where do you feel music is going, and why are they burning themselves out like this?
Well, I guess that great creative burst of energy that happened 3 or 4 years ago was hard to sustain. And for sensitive people, I guess they might be dissatisfied with anything except, the heights. And when reality stops fulfilling their inner vision, I guess they get depressed. But that's not my theory on why people die.
What is your theory?
Sometimes it could be an accident. Sometimes it could be suicide. Sometimes it could be murder. There are a lot of ways people die. I don't really know.
What a morbid question.
I hope at about age 120, with a sense of humor and a nice, comfortable bed with... No, I wouldn't want anybody around. I just want to quietly drift off. I think science has a chance in our lifetime to conquer death. I think it's very possible.
Well, if it did, what would happen to the spirit world?
Well, they just have to fend for themselves. Leave us poor immortals alone.